What's going on, nation? I want to share with you guys some tips and tricks that I've picked up over the past year since I got serious about deadlifting. As many of you know, I hit my goal of deadlifting over 500 pounds a couple months ago, and what I want to do today is wrap up my deadlifting fundamentals series, which if you haven't seen that yet, you can check all these videos out over here. And what these videos are individual tutorials breaking down the deadlift. My goal today is to share with you those tips and tricks that I've picked up to help you find that hidden strength that I know you have. Believe it or not, when it comes to Olympic lifts, little changes in your form can mean the difference between adding 5 to 10 pounds to your lift and maximizing your results. So let's talk about the first subject, which is going to be footwear. When it comes to footwear, you guys have some options. The first shoe I'm going to show you is just a Reebok ZigTech. This is what I wear when I'm just walking around throughout my daily activities. And I would recommend that you never deadlift in a shoe like this. This shoe is about an inch off the ground, and the way that it's built is for softness and to be comfortable, especially as you run, so that when you land, your foot doesn't hit the ground super hard. A shoe like this is very unstable. Whenever you're doing any type of heavy lifting where you have to stand up, you want to have a solid foundation and be as close to the ground as possible. Deadlifting in a shoe like this is very unstable because it'll actually kind of wiggle back and forth, which I'm sure you've noticed if you've done heavy squats or heavy deadlifts in a shoe like this. However, some shoes do have a platform in the back. This is a Reebok CrossFit training shoe, but the platform in the back here is solid. So you have that solid foundation that you're looking for. I personally don't like to deadlift in a shoe like this because I like to be flat on the ground, but some people prefer a shoe that has the platform in the back, which is what the shoe is made for. It's made for Olympic lifting because it helps them pull the bar up without really slamming into their knees. It gives them a little bit more of an edge when they bend over to pull up the bar. So that's why some people wear these shoes. What I normally wear in the gym is just a wrestling shoe, because to me a wrestling shoe is the closest thing you can get to natural as possible because it's super flat and the sole is very thin. But what most bodybuilders used to do, especially in the olden days, which I'm gonna actually do today for the tutorial, is go barefoot. Old school bodybuilders like Arnold or Lou Ferrigno, they trained barefoot because they believed that every little centimeter counted and made the difference between adding an extra 2.5 pounds to 5 pounds to their lift. Because the closer you are to the ground and the lower that bar can hang when doing a deadlift, the easier it's going to be to get your hips under it and pop forward and complete the lift. The higher you are up off the ground, the more you have to lift that bar up to deadlift it. It's always a great idea to warm up your lower back, especially before doing a lift like a deadlift. So I want to show you guys 2 quick warm-ups that I like to do that are very simple. All you're going to do is 2 sets of 12 reps per warm-up. The first one's going to be an alternating toe-to-hand touch, and the second one's going to be a scorpion. So all you have to do for the alternating toe-to-hand touch is lay down on the ground, and you're going to keep your arms out by your side like this, palms facing up. You're going to lift one leg in the air, and then you're going to try to keep your back flat on the ground as you twist and bring your toe to your hand. You guys just heard my back crack when I did that. Lift the other leg up, and then try to touch your other hand. Now you might only be able to go to here, depending on how flexible you are. As you get more flexible, you'll be able to pretty much touch your hand, or at least have your toes in line with your arm. So you want to do 12 reps per side, so a 1-1 count. And as soon as you finish one set, you're going to roll over on your stomach and you're going to do scorpions. And you're basically doing the same thing where you're trying to touch your foot to your other arm, your other hand. So you can lay down, face down, and then reach, come back, and reach. Once again, you're doing a 1-1 count of 12 reps. As soon as you finish the scorpions, roll back over and go through the exercises one more time. When it comes to belts, there's 2 different types of belts you can use when doing a deadlift. You can use the belt that you buy in the store, or you can create one with your body. But let's talk about this one first. When you put on a weightlifting belt, you want to put it around your torso and you want to pull it as tight as possible. It also helps if you suck in your stomach a little bit just to get it super, super tight. When you're performing the lift, you're not just doing the lift with the belt on, you're actually taking air in and holding in your diaphragm while flexing your core and pushing against the belt. That's what creates the stable structure or the solid core that you need when doing the deadlift. Now, to do the deadlift without the belt and creating one on your own is you're basically doing all the same things, but you're not using the belt. What you're gonna do is take in a deep breath, you're gonna hold that air right here, and then you're gonna flex your abs as hard as you can. And you're gonna hold that breath throughout the entire movement. If you need to reset your breath, what I like to do is get the weight all the way to the top, reset my breath at the top of the movement, and then go back down for another rep. Now, a lot of people say that you have to use the belt all the time or else you're gonna blow your lower back or you're really gonna hurt yourself, which is obvious that it can happen. But if you practice proper form with the deadlift and you train yourself to utilize your internal belt to be as strong as possible, you'd be surprised just how far you can push yourself and how much weight you can lift just relying on your own body weight, nothing extra added. So take some time with some light weight to practice that internal belt, and then let's move on to the next subject. Your foot stance when you approach the deadlift is going to change person to person. To be quite honest, when I first started doing deadlifts, I had a shoulder width foot stance, so about right here. As I started getting better at them and perfecting my form, my foot stance got closer and closer, and it's pretty much just inside of shoulder width with my toes pointing out a little bit. And the reason why it changed so much is because where you put your feet is going to determine how the rest of your body reacts. So with my feet a little closer together and my toes pointing out a bit, it's a lot easier for me to sit back and push my knees out and be able to grab the bar and pull it up and over my knees, as opposed to being wider like this and having a harder time to force my knees out to the side. When you're doing the lift and you're forcing your knees out, you're pushing your knees out, you're preventing them from collapsing, but you're also creating a bit of torque that you need in your hips to pull the bar up and lift heavier weight. Also, when your feet are close like this, in my opinion, it's easier to push through your heels during the lift. You basically want to feel like you're pushing the earth down to lift the weight. You don't want to feel like you're lifting the weights and using your lower back. You want to feel like you're actually doing a reverse leg press where you're holding the weight with your hands and you're pushing the ground down. There's a few different grips you can use on the barbell when performing a deadlift, but I want you to keep in mind that the goal here isn't to work on your grip strength. It's to deadlift as much weight as possible. The first grip you can use is an overhand grip. We basically just grab the bar, fingers over the top, and then your palms facing your body. The second grip that you can use, and most people end up going to this grip when the bar starts to get really heavy, is the switch grip. So you have one hand facing you and one hand facing away from you. And it doesn't matter which hand faces you or faces away, just as long as they're opposite. And what that's going to do is hold the bar in your hands a lot tighter and a lot easier than the overhand grip. Now, if you're having a hard time with these because you don't have the grip strength to lift the bar with a lot of weight yet, what you can do is use some wrist wraps. And the way the wrist wraps work is you put them around your hands. So let me get these on real quick. And you can use them with both the overhand grip as well as the switch grip. So once you get them on, put your hands over the bar like you normally would for an overhand grip, and then wrap the strap around towards your fingers on each hand. So we'll wrap this side first, and then you come over here and wrap the other side. And then what you can even do to make it tighter is just roll the bar, and that gets the strap super, super tight. And if you want to do the switch grip, do the same thing. Just switch your hand and then wrap it underneath like this. And again, twist the bar to get it as tight as possible. And if you don't want to use the straps, but the bar is a little slippery or you need a little bit extra of an edge to hold the bar tight, what you can do is take some chalk and put it on your hands, and that'll give you a really tight grip on the bar as well. So the final tip I have for you guys is about head and shoulder positioning. Now you want to try and maintain a neutral spine as much as possible when doing the lift. And what often happens when you're deadlifting is you tend to lift your head up. Usually there's a mirror in front of you, and you keep your head up like this, and it stays up throughout the entire movement. What you want to do is try to keep your chin down, maintain that neutral spine, so you're basically staring at the floor when you're in this position, and as you come up, your head just follows your spine. You also want to make sure when you're in the bottom position of the movement that you're not hunched over. You want to have your back as flat and smooth as possible. So you don't want to be like this, you want to be nice and smooth back here. Now as far as shoulder positioning, this is crucial, especially when you start to get into super heavy lifting with this exercise. If you try to hold your shoulders back like this, you're creating way more distance that you have to move the bar from the floor to the top of the position of the deadlift. What you want to do is basically try to sag your shoulders down as much as possible while still keeping them in a neutral position. And what I mean is, you don't want to roll your shoulders forward and let them hang down here. You want to keep them neutral and let them hang down right here as much as possible. So it's almost like you're widening your back a little bit just to drop those shoulders down low enough so that when you come to the top of the position, you're able to pop your hips forward a lot quicker. And I'll show you what I mean. If your shoulders are way back here and you grab the bar and you come up, I have to come up this high just to pop my shoulders under the, not my shoulders, just to pop my hips under the bar to do the lift. If I sag my shoulders down a little bit and I keep my back flat, I only have to go to here. See how much quicker that was? Much shorter range of motion to get under that bar to do the lift. And you also want to make sure that as you're doing the lift, you're pushing your heels into the ground, you're keeping your knees pushed out to the side to keep them from collapsing in, but as you come up, you're flexing your glutes as hard as you can to help with the lift as well. That's where that hip extension comes in. So once you have all that down, before you start doing your lift, you're going to do a quick warm-up set of maybe 12 to 15 repetitions. Use any grip you'd like, and just make sure you're following all those tips with every rep. And as you get better, you'll be able to go faster and faster. So thank you guys for watching my video to wrap up my Deadlift Fundamentals series. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.